It launched right away today. That's a good sign. And the preview is running. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and share this out on the tweets. The tweets or the Twitters or whatever people like to call it these days, right? All right, perfect. Okay, so today, since we have finished the book, I've been thinking about what the first project that I want to make, and I think I want to sort of upgrade the stream a little bit. So the most obvious thing that I can do is have like a waiting for stream or like starting soon stream, like screen overlay that I could have, where I can show that first. And then switch over to the scene as soon as I start. Then we can have a like thanks for watching, gonna stop soon, and then maybe even more of like a custom overlay with some information on it during the stream itself instead of this basically no overlay that I have right now. And I'm thinking a Rust web server would be perfect for this because I'll run that on the Windows box over here. And then I'll be able to sort of like begin adding to that. So with HTML, JavaScript, and CSS will be for the front end side of things, and the back end will obviously be Rust running the server. So I think it'll be fun. So let's try this out. Now my initial thought is like, probably gonna just take this logo, the Rust logo, and I want essentially the R to stand. Well, I mean, maybe initially I could just have this recreate this in CSS and then have it spin, and that will be like, hey, starting like starting soon. And I could do the same thing with like a break or anything else like that. So let's go ahead and get started. The biggest thing for this is going to be finding a crate for it. So I want to go to crates.io. And I want, do they have a type? No, just, oh, new keywords. Web maybe? I want a web server. Handlebars templating implemented in Rust. That's cool. Okay, tiny HTTP. There's Rocket. I've heard of Rocket. Actix Web. I've heard of that. Lightweight event-driven web sockets for Rust. That could be really interesting too. Body parsing middleware for Iron. Interesting. So Iron is on this first page, but these three might be interesting to get started. Okay, so this one has no documentation. Just a lightweight web server. Rocket. Okay, so I took a really quick look at Rocket before. Stacking. I woke up on time today. It's not showing on here. Let's see if I can fix that. All right, hopefully now chat will come up to here. Yay, you noticed the chat was broken today. I know, so I'm trying to get into the habit of at least to begin with, opening chat on my phone as well as right here, so that way if things aren't working, I can notice that. I was about to DM you on Twitter or something. It probably wouldn't have worked because, well, I mean, maybe. I don't know if I get push notifications for DMs. If I did, maybe that would work. But things are, it's looking good now. Okay. So where were we? Rocket, it looks interesting. It looks good. Last I checked, it still needs nightly. I'm not exactly thrilled with nightly, like using nightly for an actual project, because things change so much, and I really want to like get used to, well, just be using Rust stable. What am I doing today? We're doing the beginning of creating a overlay for the stream. So I want at the beginning, a starting soon overlay. And that's really just gonna be a web server with a Rust icon on it that spins, that says starting soon, and maybe a countdown timer or not. And we're gonna put that over on the Windows box, and it's going to run at the beginning of the stream. So I can start like, 5-10 minutes early, like before the stream, and then everything will be good there. And of course, like, we're gonna want a break and a thanks for watching as well. But those are all use a REST server and JavaScript on the front end. Possibly not that. It might be just CSS. Okay, so the problem, you're better off creating your own basic web server. All the other REST options are way too heavy for this task. Well, I mean, I know that a basic web server would work for this. I was thinking about just using this to learn these other frameworks. So I know they're really heavy, but I also want to just like try it out and learn how it is, so that I can use it for more complex projects. Unless you really want to learn Actix and learn futures. Is futures in right now, or is that all nightly stuff? Because this is nightly. Is Actix Web, simple, pragmatic, and extremely fast web framework for Rust. This all seems fine. They use Tokyo, which is a different version of futures than 2018 will have. Oh no. So basically, the futures they have will be slightly different, and everything will need to be rewritten. Extern create Actix Web, use Actix Web, HTTP server app path responder, function index. So we're going to take an info, which is a path, which is a U32 and a string. Tokyo will eventually switch Tokyo to use 2018 in futures about 6 months after 2018 comes out. So Tokyo will be broken for a little while. That's not a good sign. That doesn't sound good. Implement responder, format, hello, ID, info, function main, server new. Then we give it a closure app, which comes from here. So a new Actix Web app. We give it the route, which is slash basically whatever it is, to index to HTML. HTTP method get. So if it's a get to this route, then we pass it in. We pass it in the function index. No. Oh, interesting. We don't pass it in the result of index. We just pass it in the function itself. Then we bind to that 127. So the URL. Oh, I mean, sorry, the IP address that we're listening to with the port, and then we run it. I mean, this is probably fine because it's not really going to be. This is not really gonna. Like, what I'm gonna do is not really gonna like use something crazy. I guess I could go go through and do the web server again. And this time, I guess it doesn't really need to be multi-threaded, does it? Because only one client is ever going to be listening to it. But this doesn't seem terrible, mainly because I'm not using it for very much. Minimum supported REST version 1.26. Cocoa package, Actix Web. We could try it. Dependencies. Nah, let's learn Actix together. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do this. Okay, so what I want to do is let's go and create a new project on GitHub. There seems to be always an error going on right there. Okay, so this is going to be a Rust server maybe Twitch overlay. Server. It's all going to be kind of together, so I'll just say a Twitch overlay. Description. This is a Twitch overlay for my stream on HTTPS TV/bookcircle. Public, that's it. Initialize this with README. Maybe? It's probably a good idea. Get ignore. Rust. Add a license. MIT, that's fine. Create. Okay, and then I'm digging that little plug. Yeah, it's whether or not anybody actually sees that. I don't know. Okay, so documents, projects, mine. And now we're just going to git clone this. All right, so we're in our Twitch overlay. Let's go ahead and cargo new. So one question I have, is this best to do a, is it best to create a library for this or a binary for this? Using cargo is going to cause problems. You have to make a new folder and push the commit. Oh, really? So I want to basically create, does it create a .gitignore for me to begin with? Is that what the problem is? Hold on, let me come out here. Okay, so if in mind, if I did cargo new Twitch _ overlay, because why not? Create a binary application Twitch overlay. If we switch into it. Oh yeah, it creates a .get for me, and a .gitignore, and a .source. Get remote -v. Yes, there's no remotes for it. So I see no problem with grabbing this, and we'll just use the one that it created for me. So we'll do get remote, add origin, this one, and we can come back out here and remove the Twitch dash overlay. And now we can remove, no, we'll just keep that one the same. Yep, thanks for reminding me that it does get stuff for it itself, which would have been a little bit weird because we'd have a submodule essentially of no other module, and that wouldn't be cool. So cargo init can be used in a pre-existing directory. Oh, that would have been nice too. And Perdunsis, good morning, welcome to the stream. It feels hard to pronounce your name because it has no real vowels in it. But good morning. Power down sis. Aha, okay, thank you. Let's also go ahead and open up code here. Okay, so what we want to do is come to Actix. We want to see their documentation for, okay, so cargo toml. We need to add this in here. Cargo toml dependencies. There we go. Add that in. And we should just be able to do like a cargo. Oh, no, when we do our cargo run, it will auto download any of this stuff. And if we take a look at our example, we can now see whether or not this works the way we want it to. So let's do that. So extern crate. Extern crates, Actix Web. I'll do cargo run in a new tab. Now it's going to be forever to pull and compile Actix, active V. Oh, really? Okay. So are you going to be upset? Nope. Okay. Let's go ahead and start that then. Cargo run. Oh yeah, I see what you mean, because there's going to be tons of those things. So let's go ahead and continue on writing this then. We'll just not save until it's done. Okay, so we want extern create actix_web, which we have. Then use Actix Web. So we're going to want to use HTTP server app path and responder from it. Are we using all those from here? I guess we are. So use Actix Web, HTTP server app path and responder. That's a lot. So use Actix Web. Oh, that stuff. I learned the hard way. I made an IRC bot the other day and it took me forever to pull the IRC crate down. Oh, that's too bad. Okay, so HTTP. Server app, what else? Path and responder. Path and responder. Okay, then we're gonna have, essentially, this is a callback function. This is a function that we're gonna hand in over to here. And it kind of makes me wonder is, could this index be a closure instead, or do we want this to really be a function? I would pull up the Actix Web website. By the way, they don't really keep, oh, they don't? Okay, let's go ahead and homepage. That was Rocket. I want you. Okay, so far it's the same thing, so that's a good thing. So function greet require reference to HTTP request. It returns an implement of responder. Okay, that's interesting. I haven't seen that before. Let to equals rec.match. This is rec greet. Well, we could take a look at main first. So server new takes a closure, app new, resources slash. So yeah, they have changed this a little bit. It looks like that. Resource. Okay, so these are going to be then the functions, right? So this is a function that takes an R. the responder, I guess. R dot the F, call that and hand it the function greet. So this is going to be a callback function that essentially they pass to me, and I'm going to then call whatever function I want with it. They're going to bind the IP address. We have an expect in case something happens we can't bind, and obviously run the actual web server. Okay, so this looks like function greet. It implements responder. Let to rec.match.info get name unwrapper hold. Oh, I see. Format hello 2. So this is going to be some information. Well, let's try it exactly as they have, and we'll figure out what they're doing by playing around with it. So we want a function greet first. So function greet, and what did I tell you about function? fn greet. We're going to take in rec, which is a reference to the HTTP request. So rec, which is a reference to HTTP request after, so server, we don't need this, server app HTTP request responder, server app HTTP request responder. So now this is a reference to HTTP request, and in it we're going to return implement responder. Or the type is going to be return an implement of responder, and then in here we're basically just whatever we return is going to be what's sent to the client, I believe. So if I just say something like I could do a format, or format returns a string. So I should also be able to just do a string from maybe like an HTML. So h1 hello world. Okay, so we're not going to put semicolon that to return that. Okay, then we have our function main. We want a server new. Server new. This is going to take a factory. So, well, we happen to know that it takes a closure, and inside of this closure, we want to now get a new version of app. So create a new app. So app new, and what do I want to do with this? So an app new. So just on its own, then whatever it returns, we're going to run the resource method on. So dot resource path. So in this case, we want slash. Okay, so slash, and it's going to have a closure function here that takes in, I'm guessing, a request. Obviously, we could look at the documentation to get like real information about it. So it's going to take in a request, and we're going to just call this function with the request.f. That's interesting. Also interesting that they're using single letter variables in the actual thing, because even if I call this request fully, we still have to call just .f on it, which is not, I'm not too thrilled about that, but that may be what we have to do. So this is going to be a closure that takes in R. and we're going to call r.f, and I hand it greet. We're just going to hand it greet. We're not going to call greet. Now, so that's resource. What's interesting, so this is how we're going to have lots and lots of different paths on here, because then this one is like, so last name and then greet, the name. Oh, interesting. Okay, so take a look at this. This is rec match info get name. Whatever is in the URL for this one is what is going to get put into 2. So I'm not going to do that right now, so I don't need to worry about it. I'm just going to do the /index essentially. So we should get that hello world that we created. Okay, so we've got that ending. They're going to bind down here. Just bind off of the server. Bind address is going to be 127.0.0.1 colon, let's do 3000 again, and expect okay, so expect, in case there's an error here, the message is going to be could not initiate web server. Okay, and finally just .run. All right. I don't need this rec here. It's just gonna be a very, very simple function that just returns this. Okay, let's see how this is going. Oh, did I save a few times? That's probably what I did. Let's go ahead and run it now that I've saved everything. No, okay. So, hold on. Let's make this bigger. Unused import HTTP request. Okay, let's not worry about that. Function is expected to take 1 argument, but it takes 0 arguments. Oh, okay, so I actually need that. I can't skip it. I guess that makes sense. Keep that in here. Even if we're not going to use it though. So we're going to have two warnings. And it seems to be running. Let's go ahead and hit it. So localhost. Cannot establish a connection to oh, that's too bad. Okay, so localhost 3000 is not hitting here properly. So 127.0.0.1 3000. So that's where I'm attempting to bind. Let's come back to here. 127 cannot bind. Okay. Let's go to their documentation and see. Maybe they have a better thing for their getting started. Okay, so cargo new. Dependencies, Actix Web 0.7. Is that the same one we used? 0.73. I have a feeling that impulse responder is not actually returning anything. In order to implement a web server, we first need to create a request handler. A request handler is a function that accepts an HTTP request instance as its only parameter and returns a type that can be converted into HTTP response. Okay, so this one here is returning a static stir. That's interesting. Now this is all the same, but this HTTP, okay, this index okay, so Static stir. That's interesting. What if I just did full string? Like that. And for rec, we'll make you underscore so you don't yell at us. Responder. We're not using you right now. You were building a responder in that code. That's why it errored out like that. I can't type all of this. That's fine. Okay, so right, because it's implement responder. But their documentation doesn't show that's necessary, which is a little bit interesting. It's still not running. Okay, extern create Actix Web, use Actix Web server app HTTP request. Function index rec reference to HTTP request returns. So I'll try this one. Just a well, also let's take a look at this. So in function main server new, then it's app new resource slash, then the closure, so r.f index, so r.f greet, bind 7001, okay. Calvert, good morning. I think it's not a problem with your code, but maybe with the port binding or something like that, like the firewall, maybe you could try another port. This worked yesterday. Literally, like, we could try another port. Let's try 3001. I use this all the time with web development, so I'm a little bit surprised that it's not working. But it's no problem trying it again. Yeah, so still unable to connect. Let's try this, returning a static string. This is the literally only difference before I start copying and pasting this in and trying it that way. Okay, so this is going to be using the static lifetime for stir. So instead of string from, we're just going to return this. And this is now going to be a reference static stir. Okay, so running just fine. All right, so still not running. So now let's try the good old copy paste their code here. So I'm just gonna go ahead, delete everything that I have. Extern create this, come over to here, function main, copy this, save it. All right, so there's no errors or warnings or anything else because we're not even bringing in those things. Don't forget to change the port in your browser. Oh, you know what? I did, didn't I? I still have this. Hey, that did work. That shouldn't have worked, but it did. Also, it didn't render. It didn't render as HTML. Why didn't it do that? Inspector. Weird. Look at that. It put it inside of a pre-tag. So Actix Web is doing stuff for me. It's not just sending up the raw text. It wrapped it in a pre-tag for me, which is not necessarily what I wanted. But okay, this means that we can now roll back all these changes and put this one back. So this is 3001. I guess we're not going to do hello world. We're just going to say hello. Catvert, you totally called it. Well, okay, I thought you. Why are you running now? So I saved you. 3001 here. 3001. Suddenly it's working. Was I not waiting long enough? Is there a delay between when it finishes compiling and running? Okay, so if I hit cargo run and I just come over here right away and hit refresh, no, it's running. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. You have some weird ghost, man. I know this is weird, but okay, it's running here. They're wrapping in a pre-tag, which is a little bit odd, but we can get around that. Okay, so that's it. Now run the program and head over to see the results. If you want, you can have an automatic reloading server doing development that recompiles on command. To see how this can be accomplished, have a look at the auto reload pattern. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm perfectly fine with that. Okay, so application. Actix Web provides various primitives to build web servers and applications with Rust. It provides routing, middleware, pre-processing of requests, post-processing of responses, blah, blah, blah. For an application with prefix /app, any request with the path /app/app/ or /app/test would match. Wait, really? However, the path application would not match. So wait, /app/test would match this? Oh, prefix. Yeah, okay, so I see that. I don't care about that right now. Okay, so server new, we're doing those. Application state, I don't care about that right now. I want to send up like actual HTML. Okay, so we have basics, there's the server. It's like pausing and resuming, multi-threading, SSL, keep alive. Don't really care about any of this stuff, and then graceful shutdown. Not really worried about that. Handlers, request handling happens in 2 stages. You can also change the signature to return implement responder, which works well if more complex types are involved. Oh, so it needs to like bytes from static. Oh, interesting. Okay. So I could then return like a box. Handler trait is generic over S. Response with a custom type. Async handlers. Return different types. I just want to send actual HTML. How do I do that? Extractors, that doesn't seem right. Let's see, middlewares, testing, responses maybe? Okay, so a builder-like pattern is used to construct an instance. The methods, okay. Use Actix Web, content encoding, but I could say the content type plain text. I think that's what I want to do. body is going to be just the string data. That seems a little bit interesting. I want to try this one. Okay, so we have function index. This takes in a reference to HTTP request, which it always has to, and is going to return with a HTTP response. So we also need to bring in that. Okay, so we're going to return that, and now HTTP response okay, so that's going to be a 200 response, and then we get to set all these things for ourselves. Now the question is, do I have to set them? Like, do I have to run this, or will it have a if this method is called in the same builder instance multiple times, the builder will panic, so that's normal. The method's body, finish, and JSON finalize response creation, return a constructed HTTP response instance. Okay. HTTP response. So HTTP response, we want, what was it? It was just okay. Interesting. It's not auto completing that for me. Okay, as a function. I'm sure it has a default structure. That's what I would expect that. There's no new here, but okay should potentially be setting this for me. Content and coding. So what happens if I just like set this to be blank and I just say dot body? So dot body, and we put in just our data. So this is going to be hello world. We just want to return this. I'm not using responder, so get rid of that. Save, and let's restart our server. It says it's compile. It didn't finish, did it? There it is. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. All right, so let's see what happens if I hit here. Okay, so here's our hello world. It seems to be fine. It's still wrapped in pre-tags. Good morning, Danny. Hello world is still wrapped in a pre-tag, which is really weird. Danny, you've used a bunch of Rust, and I know that you've done some. Niblesio is rating. Thank you, Niblesio. I think you're the first person who's ever rated me. So thank you very much for this. And with a party of 22, welcome everybody. All right, so it's Nibbles.io. Nibbles.io is making a new language. Awesome. Danny, I was about to ask you because we've chatted about this before. Have you used Actix Web? I'm trying to create a web server for this, and I keep on getting it wrapping all my plain data in a pre-tag, which is really kind of weird and new. I've only used Pencil 2 years ago. Oh, that's a long time ago. Okay, so what else? I mean, there's static files, which I could use, I guess. It's possible to serve static files with a custom path pattern and name file to match path tail. Maybe I need to use auto reloading databases, Sentry. Actix. Well, there's Actix and there's Actix Web. And so, okay, this is responding with that, but that's like the same exact Actix is the actor pattern implementation. Actix was introduced at the latest Rust meetup that I went to. So that's why one of the reasons why I was looking at it. It's also one of the few web servers that's on the front page of crates when you search for web. Okay, stream pipelining. But what I want to do is actually have HTML be sent up. These aren't really necessarily helping me. I guess like is Actix only going to be for like JSON and not like an actual web server? So would this be best as a would this be best as some kind of Actix Web supposed to be a full web server? Okay, so it's supposed to be full web server. So why URL dispatch request responses? Actix automatically compresses payloads. Okay, that's fine. But I don't want it to wrap it in pre-tags, which is what it's doing right now. Actix Web app, HTTP response. Okay, so JSON responses. What if I don't want JSON responses? The JSON type allows, okay. I guess it wants me to do static files if I'm using just pure HTML, and then everything else will be through like JSON. I mean, that could make sense. I could see that. Either that, or maybe I need a middleware to set it up, like to create the HTML and not like. I guess my question is, if I use middleware, can I trust that it's gonna not wrap it in pre-tags? Okay, so individual file directory. To serve files from a specific directories and subdirectories, static files can be used. Static files must be registered with an app handler method, otherwise it will be unable to serve subpaths. Okay, so Actix Web, use Actix Web app and fs handler /static fs static files new dot. Oh, so it's actually serving right from that directory. Interesting. Unwrap show files listing. Oh, this is just okay, so this is whatever fs static files new unwrap show files listing. Is this going to be a server that just displays all the files it can find? The parameter is the base directory, or no, it's attempt to load directory listing will return 404 not found. To enable file listing, use, okay, so it's actually just going to allow me to find each of these. Instead of showing files listing, is probably redirect to a specific index. Use the static files index file method to configure this redirect. Okay, so that's nice. Configuration. Okay, so let's try this then, and we'll create a folder. So inside of here, let's take static, and we're gonna touch an index.html, and we'll deal with the rest of that in a second. Inside of here, we'll do HTML. Okay, so doc type. This is going to be hello world, and I don't need script or style sheet at this moment. And our body is just going to be an h1 tag of hello world. So if we end up getting this and it works up perfectly, then that's all we really care about. Okay, back to documentation. Okay, so you use Actix Web, app, and FS. You can serve the body content by body include stir, the include stir macro, dot content page HTML. Well, okay, like content, where did it show that? Was that in responses? Just change path to your static page, HTML page. I'm just surprised that, did I miss that? JSON responses, chunk transfer. No, so it was not in here. Okay, so you could serve the body content by .body, include stir. Okay, so if I want to try that, then in this .body, we change this to include stir bang, and then the stir we want to have so you're having content page HTML. If I just do slash, we'll still go to the root of the project, right? So then static slash index.html. Let's try that. Couldn't read static HTML, no such file or directory. Okay. Maybe it is slash. Maybe it is dot. Just so you're aware, include stir will pre-compile the string into a binary at compile time. So if you change the template, it won't change when you refresh because it doesn't grab it until the next compile. So I've got a full compile if I change the code. Okay, so it does need to do dot. Is that because it's in main RS? But when I compile, I foresee some interesting potential problems because like where my executable might be compared to where index.html would be. But for right now, that claims it's working. Let's try recompiling. We're getting to the longer compile times now. It was so much nicer in a book when we weren't doing anything complex, so therefore it was a fast compile. All right, so compiled without errors. Let's go ahead and run this. Hit refresh, and there's our hello world. So that did work. Power down sys, so that's awesome. Thank you. And we're getting real HTML now. We'll pre-compile the string into a binary at compile time. The .html files won't be for distribution anymore after you compile with include string, as it's baked in at compile time, not at runtime. Oh, so it's actually including the files in there. So then when I distribute this web server, it won't be. I don't need to worry about like sending those along. Just a single binary. That's actually not bad. So it's copying those in to appropriate spots. So if we take a look at this, greet, all right, so I've got our index.html. Now the next thing is I do want the ability to have the static files so that I can change the CSS and potentially JavaScript in here. Should be able to obj dump the binary to find the HTML files. Ooh, interesting. Let's try adding in a little bit of CSS. So where do I want to do that? In here, index.html. Let's oh, ew. Okay. Recomment you. Oh, is it? Bang. Okay, so we have our link, rel style sheet, text.css, media screen, href. I want to do it to slash. We can do /styles /main.css. Okay, so it's going to hit /styles /main.css, which means here we have to have another resource to handle this. Or we can put this in static /main.css, which means we need to have the static responses. Where static files. So now we need this in order to make it like a CSS files available for me. My new schedule. Okay. Do Actix Web. We don't necessarily want to do an individual file here. We want a full directory, so I can put JavaScript files in there as well, and then it'll be all fine. Okay, so add a new handler. So we need a handler. So we have our resource. Does it matter what order we do these in? So app.new handler static. Okay. Dot finish. Is that finishing the handler? We'll find out. Okay, so let's do that before the resources. So we'll have dot handler. Path will be /static. The handler will be a fs static file. Oh, interesting. So it's not going to be a function that I create myself. It's going to be a function that we have right here. Okay, so we have fs static files new, and then I have to say where it's going to find the static files. Okay, so we need to bring in fs. So fs static files new. Directory is going to be what? Static. So static, like that. This is a pretty neat API so far. I mean, we'll see how it ends up being. In the future, like if I ever do any more, like, you know, have an actual HTTP responses that get JSON, that would be pretty cool too. Okay, so we have fs static files new. We just want to unwrap that to let it, because it's returning an option for us, and then show files listing. What's that coming from? Show files. Oh, show file listing is actually going to then show the files. To enable files listing, use static show files listing method. Oh, so that's going to show like what the files are. I don't care about that. So in reality, I just want to do unwrap and then a finish. So handler dot close this down so I have more room. Okay, so I just want an unwrap on this. I always get concerned when it doesn't static file is new unwrap. Here is where the unwrap goes. Okay. Then we have the dot resource, dot expect, dot run. But for this handler, at the end of it is right here. So then we have this dot finish at the end. Do I need a dot finish here? I might. And then we go on to resource. No method name resource for type. Okay, so no. No is the answer. Will that work? The answer is maybe. So let's try this. Now, of course, we should get an error right away because we don't have, I think, finish it, state you are done with the app builder struct. Yeah, I'm starting to get that idea that I could do finish maybe at the end here, but it's not yelling at me. Now, we're going to static main.css. Let's create a main.css inside of here. So touch static main.css. And okay, main.css. Let's just do, we'll just set the h1 color to red. That will definitely like show off. And this should be red if that works. So let's recompile here and find out how we are. Oh man, if I keep on doing this and the compile times get too much longer, I'm gonna have to have something fun to do during the stream. Sanu Ohani, good morning, welcome to the stream. All right, running. Let's go ahead and test it. Red, we have CSS. Okay, so we have static files up and running. We have our index.html being, I mean, it's not being compiled and sent up, but it is working and doing the thing for us. So let's think about what we actually want to do now. Our entire point to this was to have an overlay that is going to overrun over the stream. So basically my thought is right here, we have a big Rust icon that's like just rotating. And then with a starting soon underneath it. That could be what we want. So what we need is to think, I would love to do something like this. This R, I am not sure right off the bat how I can make all the little notches out of the cog with the circle for that, but maybe what I could do is a R with just a circle around it and then have that rotate to begin with. So now essentially we're going to be switching over to a HTML and CSS because we have Rust going. So let's go ahead. SVG? I don't have an SVG of this. I guess I could I guess I could just get the image. Is it an SVG? Oh, this is an SVG right here. Is it worth it to learn Rust to use it with WebAssembly? The answer it depends. Are you going to use Rust for anything else or just WebAssembly? Because you could use almost any language with WebAssembly right now. In fact, there's a decent argument to use JavaScript for WebAssembly, which is a little bit ironic and weird, but it works. I believe there's a Rust SVG available. So like I could send SVG up and then have that do it. Links to official graphics. Ooh. Are these legal for me to use though? Officially provide the Rust logo. Please provide a page of the Rust logo and SVG and a suitable copyright notice. Here are all the logos. The policy covering it is here. Our mission to provide, use the links below to find what your, wait, where's the Rust stuff? This is just the Mozilla. Oh, there's no Rust. Oh man. Okay, so I was hoping that those links would actually be to the Rust logo. Now here's all the logos we can find. 256. I want maybe the biggest one we can get. 256, 512. So this is pretty nice. Now this is a PNG, but that's not too bad because I can use this and I could just have it on a white screen, or I can turn this. Well, I probably couldn't turn this back black because it is a PNG. If it was a ooh, will this give me it? Art. So these are all Rust logo SVG. Okay, so here's the Rust logo SVG. Do they have requirements? Does it want me to like go straight to it or download it? Just trademark using it. The most basic rules of Rust trademark cannot be used in ways that appear official. Okay, so I'm just CC BY license, referring to it. Can I change the color? Can I like make it white on black? I don't see any. Oh, wait, why can't I search? Oh, right, because search in Mozilla is down to the bottom instead of Chrome, which is at the top. Color. Look. This is the most permissive Creative Commons alignments around reuse and modifications for any purposes. Oh, nice. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so I have this SVG. I am not super familiar with SVG. So what I think, well, the first step is going to be to download this. So just save. Put that in there, and let's get this into our static folder. So that's the next question. Okay, so if I create a new tab and let's go into static, and we're going to copy from downloads the Rust logo to here. So here that is. The restrictions are that distributors must give appropriate credit, provide a link to the license, and indicate if changes were made. All right, perfect. Okay, distributors must give appropriate credit. So I could just maybe put something on the page, linking like back to the Rust site, which I have no problem doing. Okay, so in here, in index.html, can I use this as an actual just pure image tag? So can I do image source equals, it's going to be slash static Rust logo. Okay, so slash static slash. Oh, that's so nice that it gives me this. Alt would be the Rust logo. I should never be mousing over it or have it not show up, but I'll put that in there because it's a good habit. Okay, so if I have this image, if I just hit refresh here, Does it show up? No. Okay, so you're right. I will have to recompile every single time, it looks like. All right, recompile time. I also had an idea for something I can do during like slower times like these. Maybe like figuring out some kind of giveaway for the multitude of stickers that I've created. Not created, acquired from various meetups. Also, I just walked into the Mozilla offices at the previous location I was working at and just grabbed a bunch of stickers. I need to find them, and potentially I can give those away. I think you use object for SCV files. Well, image works. It now shows up. So I can do that. Thief. Well, I mean, I did ask, can I have some, I was gonna go there asking for one of their Mozilla Chuck, and he wasn't there, but like just somebody working was like, you're here for stickers, right? I'm like, well, I guess I'm here for stickers now. And they're like, well, they're right over there, just go take a bunch. So I grabbed a bunch. They didn't have any traditional like this Rust stickers. All they had was the Colorado Rust, which was a little bit interesting. Yeah, so image source works with this. I vaguely remember this in the past. I haven't used SVG like for anything in projects before. But what I could do is, if I remember correctly, I can, with CSS, scale this up. So let's do that. So main.css. We can also take this with our image. We can turn this red, right? We can turn it red for no reason other than to just try turning it red. We can make its width. What do we want to do for that? It's almost like they call it scalable vector graphics. The G part, right? Okay, so width. Oh, look at all these things they're telling me. Let's use not rems. You can use view height and view width. So I can do maybe 75% of the view width, and that should auto scale the down part too. So if I do that, after, oh, the CSS file I didn't need to reset. That just worked. That's actually really interesting that I didn't need to redo that one. Okay, so that's 75%. I also want to center it. So centering is always a fun task in CSS. I almost want to now switch over to I almost want to switch over to using CSS in here. This is so this is Mozilla Firefox, and I haven't actually used this for like playing with. Oh, here it is, rules. Okay, so I want to static wasn't using include stir. Oh, that's why. Okay. So I'm gonna need to include, so when I move this over to the Windows box, I'm gonna need to include the static folder and put the files in there. Not a huge problem. It is just something that's interesting to note though. Okay, so element. With this, I want to pull in, what do I wanna do? It's just an image, right? Can I do, what's the best way to center it? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take a really quick break to go get my CSS book that I have upstairs. So I'll be right back, but maybe first, right in here. Hello world. Be right back. Oh, I need to recompile. for HTML changes. Because that one we're using the include stir. So compiling. All right, we got that. Refresh. Be right back. So I'll be right back. I am back. Okay, so I've got a couple books here. Specifically, though, the one I'm going to reference the most is going to be this CSS The Missing Manual. So this was recommended to me by a bunch of different front-end developers. And my CSS is a little bit weak right now. Which I know that Danny, you're super good with CSS. You've been using it a lot, and you're really fast with it too. For me, like just the horizontally centering is going to be like that. That's going to be the thing, right? So applied formatting margins. Do I want to use grid with this? That's the next question. Formatting. Guess. I mean, I could set a margin left auto. That's like was traditionally the way to do it. I could use flexbox and maybe try to set that up to be in-centered. Positioning elements on a web page. Or using a grid system. So our choices is flexbox, grid, or just good old-fashioned margin. If I use flexbox, 527. We're going to have So that we have to set the flex container, and then we want the display. How would we have it be centered then? So it would be display flex, and then something else with it to make it. There's flex direction, flex flow. Align items, maybe. Align content. Justify content center, align item center. Oh, if I use flex? So let's try that. So in here, we're gonna have our element. So display flex, justify content center. Okay, so that is to the be right back. We want this also to this element right here, but I believe that should just work, right? So can I do it for, can I create new elements? Ooh, I can. So I can do image and display flex, justify content, center. That didn't do it though. It is. Oh, do I have to give it a, so I gave it a width. So everything has a width right now. Did I just lose that? Okay, hold on. Image is a child of body and can be positioned with Flexbox. I'm just surprised that it didn't work for me. So let's go to image here. Okay, here we have image color width with that. We want, I don't know why this one didn't work for me. Let's undo that. Let's put this down here. Display, flex, justify content, center. That's not happy maybe. Do I need to put it as body? Display flex, justify content, center. Interesting that, so that made these left and right here, which is also not necessarily what I want. What if I just delete this? Delete node. Is that centered? Change the flex direction. Where are these things going? Okay, so that did work with that. Were you suggesting flex direction column in the image? So display flex, flex direction column in body. Okay. Flex direction is a container type rule, so it has to be on the top. Okay, so in body, display flex. So justify content center does work though, and it does center this. So now I can do this, and it is fully centered for this window. So I don't think I need to do anything else. If I wanted to do flex direction, column doesn't like that. So I think justify content is the way we want to go for this. So in the body, we want display flex, justify content center. Okay, so let's go back and implement that here. So main CSS, we're going to put into the body. We're going to do display flex, justify content center. Also, I want to do background color. Well, I don't really need to do background color for the body for anything. I don't think so. What I'm gonna want to do is say, okay, image. I'm kind of want to set like the color to white, but I'm just gonna leave it the same then. Okay, so display flash, justify content center. Let's come in here. Let's move this H1 down below because I feel that maybe it's gonna be better over here. We're gonna say starting soon. We have to recompile. Compiling. Okay, and now we can run this. Okay, so it centered everything. Oh right, because I'm gonna want to set this. I sort of deleted that node, didn't I? I'm gonna want to put these into their own divs, aren't I? So let's put a section. I'll just do a div. Div, this is gonna have a class equals, this is gonna be the logo. And our starting soon will be done here. Dr. Robot Vinnick, good morning. Can you create persistence in the console updates to disk? Not exactly, but so I am using Rust as a backend for this, and so I have to recompile to add the HTML back into the system. And hey, default flex direction is row, so it places things horizontal. Oh, so that's why I want to do flex direction column. Okay, so hold on. Let's try this. Let's do this again and try that flex direction column. Justify content. Flex direction column. So that's why I wanted to do that. Recompile. Stare at it for a really long time, waiting for it to compile. All right, check it out. Oh no. Okay, take a look at this. It got the width. 23 seconds to compile this. I know, and this is the dev compile. This is not even going for optimized compile. 12 seconds. Still, that's you didn't need to recompile for CSS changes. I couldn't remember if I had saved, like if I had recompiled with some of the HTML changes though. This is not looking good. This is hilarious. Okay, so for our image, why won't you show me all the rules? Is this for a Twitch overlay? Yes, it is. It is for, it's gonna be a custom Twitch overlay, and I'm writing the server too. There are no rules for it. Image source, right, it's on body. Body display flex, justify content, flex direction. Oh, right, I need to set, okay, so if I come to image and we add into this and we say, okay, we want a width of 75, view width. This is what we want. Okay, so kind of forgot to do that. So image is going to have a width 75, view width. Okay, so much better. Also no longer centered. You're right. So we had a justify content center and a view flex direction. You need an align items rule because flex direction changed the main axis. So is that going to be in body? Align items center. Ooh, it is. Okay. So inside of here in body, we're going to have an align items center. Refresh. Okay, so we're gonna have here now we have our Rust logo and the starting soon. The starting soon is an H1. It feels so small now compared to everything else. So maybe we should make that a little bit bigger. Let's do. Is it size or is it text? Oh, it's font size. That's what it is. Font size. We want to be. If I do 1 em, that's small, and I just start going bigger. Okay, so that 5 em is fine, and then if I want to like pull this up a little bit, size it based on VW2. Ooh, okay, so 1 view width. That's really small. Okay, so 8 view width looks basically appropriate for this. And then I'm thinking about also moving this down a little bit. Or moving it up. So maybe setting the margin top reverse. So margin top. We'll just do negative -1. Do I want to do this based upon view width or pixels? The problem is that as this is currently, it's going in like that. Do I want percentages? If I do like -1 view width, will that? Oh, that's nice. So we'll keep it right there. And okay, so starting soon, that looks about right. That looks about good. So we're gonna have, for the H1, we want to have font size of 8 view width and a margin top of -7 view width. So our H1 is going to have a font size of 8 view width and a margin top of -7 view width. A view width is global unit size, so if everything references a single global unit size, they stay proportional. Perfect. That's excellent. So we'll hit refresh. Of course, nothing changes because they're all set properly now. Okay, so we have all of these things. I guess like the next thing to do would be to make this rotate. That's what we want. Okay, so rotating stuff. That's fun. Animations with CSS are really cool when you get them to work. So what part of this book do I want to do? Animations. So there's basics, not in there. Formatting. So applied CSS. Okay, CSS transforms, transitions, and animations. And I probably want animations. So 338. Do you bring other CSS books? I'm greedy to know them. Okay, so this is the book that I'm using right now. It is the CSS, the Missing Manual. It's got a relatively new version too. And I do have one other book. I don't think it's going to be useful for me today, but this is the CSS Secrets by Leah. She is pretty amazing with CSS. I've watched a few of her her conference talks, and not only just the stuff that she's memorized, but there's a lot of things where it's, this will take like 30 different CSS properties, and she just laughs and uses a single one that does the exact same thing. Okay, so animations. What I want to do is, so there's going to be keyframes, then the name of the animation, so from and to, and it's going to be list CSS properties. So I can do it with like color changes. If I want to do a full rotation, so that's probably going to be a transform then, right? I want okay, well, what I can do is I'm going to do this first, and then we'll have a color change to sort of see that we're doing it properly. So this is going to be keyframes. So it's the ampersand side, keyframes, the name of the animation. So I'm going to call this keyframes, name of keyframes. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Okay, so this is going to be the name of the animation. So it's like a variable name here. So we're going to call this rotate. And inside of here, we're going to have a from. And so this is the state where we start with. So list of CSS properties here. So instead of rotate, we're actually just going to do color here. And we're going to say that we want to go from just black, which is what it is right now, and to, and we want to, we're just going to go to color. Let's go to this aqua color. Okay. Now we need to apply this. So let's, so far with all these, there's fades in, glowing, opacity, applying an animation. So we create the keyframes, apply that animation to the style for the div tag. So animation name. So apply that animation style for whatever tag it is. So for the image tag, we're going to say animation name is going to be rotate. Animation duration is going to be the number of seconds. So let's just do like 5 seconds. I believe this will just run once. So if I hit refresh, and nothing happens. Okay, so we have H1. In case you want the answer. Oh, did you write this? Did you write it in? I'll look at it in a little bit. First of all, this H1, look at this. It didn't, I don't think it actually got my, I saved the file. It didn't see the changes here. Am I gonna have to recompile for this? Maybe it got like a 301 cached response. So 0%, color red, color green, 100% color white. Oh, so it's still not showing, look. And under the H1 is not showing my animations here. No animations were found for the current element. Why are you not displaying for me? That's a little bit interesting. A little bit sad too. Can I say? I don't know if I can do keyframes like this. No, I can't. It switched it back to H1, so I need you to go away now. Or I'll just refresh. Okay, so that apparently wasn't the way to do this. Does it need to be on a div tag? Like, can it not be applied to something else? Okay, to make it work, you can add an animation to any style for any element on a page. If you simply add the animation to a style that applies immediately to an element, for example, an H1 tag style, the animation will apply when the page loads. Give name of animation to the element. I should have done that, right? So here's our code right now. So we have animation name, rotate. The CSS you are watching in the inspector is related to the HTML element you chose. If you click on the image tag, then you should. Oh, did I not choose the image tag? You're right, I didn't. I was looking at the H1 going like, why isn't it working? Okay. You need a property to start the animation. Really? I need a property to start the animation? Okay, so what property do I need? Maybe not, but to infinite loop. So I understand if I infinitely need to loop it. Okay, so to give timings, there's animation timing function, animate like an ease. There, I know there's defaults in there, but or like linear, but I don't care about that right now. Use prefix. What's the prefix? So I shouldn't need to do anything crazy for that. So we have the animation name, we have the animation duration, animation delay, running as default. I'm not fully sure. So, okay, so animation name, animation duration. I guess I could use the timings in here. Where's the prefix thing? I'm not seeing that. Delay is 0 by default. Well, does that mean it shouldn't be running because I have it at 5 seconds? It should last longer than loading, right? Using color. Oh, it should be background color. That's so for the image, it should be background color. Okay. Background color. No, that's not what I wanted. I mean, so the animation worked. That was great. I think the real problem is how do I change the color of an SVG now? So that's what I need to know. So is there anything in here for that? SVG color changes. Okay, so advanced. This book might not have anything about SVGs. Which in that case, I'll have to go to, yeah, this is just normal CSS, not SVG stuff. So you have to inspect the SVG so you can target it. But we can also check, so change color of SVG CSS. Have a Google. Fill. The fill property in CSS is for filling in the color of an SVG shape. The fill property, okay, so fill is what you say. Let's try it out in here. So we have our image, we have our width, we have this. Fill, if I just say red, that didn't set any yet. Although maybe it's also because of this animation. That's not setting this either. What if I did, you have to target a path element inside of it. Oh, do I need to pull in the path of the SVG through CSS and not through the image? So right now I have this image as just an image. I could do a div and then do a background image source and then do fill there. Or I could try fill in here. So instead of background color, fill. Nope, save doesn't work. Oh, but of course this won't work easily because when I hit refresh to actually make it work again. Okay, so let's put in, instead of here, we'll try fill to begin with. Yeah, so it's not working here. So I don't know if image and object handle SVG CSS differently. Yeah, I'm beginning to think that image is not the right tag to use here. So for index.html, we don't want image. We're going to want image path for your CSS. So do I want just to be object or a div? I could do object. The object element can represent an external resource, which, depending upon the type of resource, will either be treated as an image, as a nested browsing context, or as an external resource to be processed by a plugin. Need to specify SVG. So is there SVG? I don't see that either. SVG. That feels like it's creating a separate, like its own tag there. Okay. Isn't SVG for only inline SVG? We can try this. We could also go back to this here. We have HTML. SVG version. You can't modify the style of an SVG if it's loaded from a URL. It needs to be embedded. Okay, so I want to set up, because they're doing all the SVG stuff inline in here, and I don't want to do that. So you can't modify the style of an SVG if it's loaded from a URL. It needs to be embedded. So because I just have an SVG file, I can't do that then. But Danny, you're suggesting that I use image path for my CSS. So if I come back to here, so you were suggesting I use object. Object data is going to be /static Rust logo type SVG. Then in main.css, I can do, you need to download the image and save it into image folder in Sprite. Well, so I have a static, I have it on my local system. Yeah, I'm seeing also SVG has to be inline to target with CSS. Oh, that's too bad. Sprite.svg file. I mean, is that a special name that the browser will use, or is it just like a generic? Because right now I do have it locally in static Rust logo BLK image. Actually, looking at this, they have all of this stuff here. white. So I could inline this. Because here's all the information I would care about. It's our path. Hey, so we could do this. Path equals D, path equals D. Okay, so if it has to be inline to do, where do we want to put this? So here we have this SVG version 1.1. So I noticed that we have this SVG. They're inlining like the width and the height in the view box. And then inside of it, we have the path. And then we close the path and we close the SVG. And that's just inside of the HTML. So if I take you and I copy paste, I really want, wait, that's closing SVG right there. Why am I getting the idea that I'm not looking at the full? Well, here's the path. You need fill property to apply for the entire logo or only for our element. Yeah. I guess I'm gonna have to create a new SVG tag because this is not starting with the SVG. It's just the contents of the file. The problem that what Danny found and saw, and what a couple of you have found, is we're seeing the SVG has to be inline to target with CSS, which is too bad because right now I'm pulling in SVG just from here. And so what this means is I can't then do, okay, instead of image, we're gonna do object and then say, what was it? It was image path. Is there an image path? There's no image path. There's like background image, but I don't think that will really help out with this in this case. The background image path would be the element you would select. Well, that would be the object. URL is /static press logo, but I can't imagine that this is going to work. Also, I think I changed the URL. I changed the HTML, so I have to recompile. I should have done that while we were playing with CSS. Since this is nice 12+ second long recompile. Okay, there we go. Instead, you could use mask image. That's great. This is lovely. If we take our object here, CSS ship it. Yep, it's like we're done. Starting soon. You can read that, right? This is easily readable. CSS mask image property for that. Oh, to like, is that to like put another like div on top of it that like reads the changes the colors and like sets that like whatever is like black will then be changed to a different color. I'm quickly like I've been running at the edge of my CSS knowledge for this, so this is good to go in. Okay, so if I'm in with object and I do fill here, fill with red. No is the answer. So again, it like this object won't work for that. So we have CSS mask image potentially. Instead you use mask image. How does mask image work? CSS mask image. The two ways to style SVG are inline SVG in HTML, or you can link to a style sheet from the HTML file, from the SVG file. Okay, so I did that with the well, okay. So Danny, your suggestions didn't work fully, but your new one is okay. We would need to inline the SVG. So I'm going to try the mask first, and then if this doesn't work, we're going to go with the inline. Okay, so mask image CSS property sets the image that is used as a mask layer for an element. So these are, let's, formal syntax. Can we have examples? Okay, so masked. Why would they use an ID for this? Okay. Width 100 pixels, height 100 pixels, background color is this. Mask image URL star.svg. Okay. Div ID masked. All right, so what we want to do, come back to index.html. Instead of object, we're just going to have a plain old div, and we're going to say class equals Rust logo. Okay. Now, because I do that, I'm going to immediately recompile, so we don't have to wait for that. But we're going to come back to the CSS, and instead of object, we're going to do, this is dot Rust logo, and this is going to be mask image, sets the mask layer. Okay. So then it's URL and then the URL. Okay, so we have the URL. We have the width, animation name. Let's go ahead and not apply animations right now. We don't want to worry about that. And then we want a fill. Is it a fill? It's just a background color. So background color is just red. Okay, so now let's see, width is 75, view height. I think it didn't get a height either, so let's make sure we get a height of 75, view width, make sure it's a square. Well, okay, so we got colors, so that's good. Okay, so we've got colors. Now I want to make sure that it doesn't repeat. Mask image is pretty tricky. This is not showing anything that is repeating here. Mask image. Do I need to tell it like mask image repeat or something? All right, let's try this. Mask. So we have different borders, clip, composite image, mode indicates, okay, don't care with that. Mask position, center, computes to 50% left. Okay, so center would be good, I would think. Although, you know what? I really care about mask repeat. Mask repeat. No repeat, just once. So back to this. All right, so there's our one. Now we have a width and height, but it's not setting that for us. Can we do a mask? Is there a mask size? You can use mask image URL. So I am doing that. I do have the mask image URL here. I want to set the size though to make it bigger. Mask size specifies the size. Okay, so size is going to be 75 view width. So maybe I don't need, I may not need those. Let's try this. All right. We're sort of like getting back to where we were, but this time with color of our SVG. So I'm curious if I take away these, not happy. So I need both the width and a height here, and then I also need the mask size in order to set the size properly. And then if okay, so we have our mask image, we have our width and height, we have our background color. Okay, so now for this, if I don't set the background color here, if I instead have our animation, I'm actually more curious. If I don't set the animation at all, what's the... Ooh, so I need like a background color. I want to at least set a default background color of like black. Was there weird anti-aliasing from... Let's see. Looking at it, I'm not... So looking at the edges, I'm not seeing anything necessarily weird. It might have been from the red too. Okay, so we have that. Now we have our keyframes for rotate. Now, of course, we're just using colors for right now, but so we're gonna start from black. We're gonna go to aqua, but we don't want fill anymore. We want this to be background color. And you are gonna run this for 5 seconds as soon as we refresh the page. Any number of things could be aliasing it weird before it gets to my screen. I mean, of course, it could also be Twitch doing that. Okay, so let's try this. Hit refresh, and now it slowly hits to there. And then, of course, immediately goes back. So we have animation name, animation duration, animation... I want it to go, I want it to do like a full rotation and then repeat forever. So I want to iteration count infinite. So this is going to set it to just repeat over and over and over again. That's fine. So animation iteration count infinite. Okay, so that will set it up for going like that. The next thing is I'm going to want to do a transform to rotate it. So that will probably be back to the book again to look at the transforms. Animated photo rotation is weird because it needs 0 and 360 degrees is the same. Yeah, I figure that it's going to be, that's going to be fun to figure out. Gonna be back. See you. Have a good one. Positioning. Okay, so we don't. It's not there. Where is the animations? Okay, CSS transforms, animation, transitions, animations, transforms is 319. Okay, so transforms. So we just have like transform, rotate, X, X degrees. Oh, you know what? I could probably do like, there's the midpoint in the animation keyframes. So I can do rotate. In here we have background color black, question, CSS rotated animations. I'm gonna see if I can figure it out first, but thank you Dazed Head. If I don't get it, I'll definitely check that. Okay, so we want a transform, rotate, and we're gonna start with 0. Is it 0D? It's DEG. So 0 DEG. And this one is going to be transform, rotate 360 DEG. Now I don't know if, oh, right here. I don't know if I'm going to need anything special with this. Hey, look at that. So we get automatic rotations. Now this is, it's using something like a linear. So I need to figure out what are the different algorithms to use, and then choose one that is a lot better. So these are transforms, smoother animations. I don't want to delay necessarily. Okay, so there's applying to animation. Just fade in, timing the animation. There's like fade in, ease out, linear. Do they have just like a list of them? Iteration count infinite. Pausing animation. Well, I don't think I want, well, I can play with these now, right? What is it? It's animation fill mode. I don't think that's what I want. Animation name. Where's the one where I can tell it? Animation timing function. That's what it is. Okay, so if I come into here, we have our div. Animation timing function. Okay, we have cubic Bezier. Is this actually going to update it right now? Ease. Oh, I think it is. Okay. Here it is, linear. So linear is what we want. So animation timing function linear. Animation timing function linear. And also 5 seconds is really cubic Bezier is great too. I think linear is going to be good for easy in or out. I don't want 5 seconds, seems too fast for that. I want this to be a really slow turn. Let's try 25 seconds. Oh, look at this. Super nice and slow now. Okay, so if I have this, Also, take a look. It's changing color at the same time because we've left those sections in. So if I remove that, we'll save, hit refresh. So here is our entire page. I'll remove this. Slopes. Switch view width to view v-min. What's v-min do? So I want it for the rest logo. View width. Do for everything. v-min. Hey, take a look at that. That's pretty good. This is actually kind of fun to look at and watch. Okay, so let's I kind of want to sort of like press this and send it over. So if I have this as like a starting soon, is this too fast? Is it too fast? Is it gonna like make it not quite as easy to look at or pay attention to, or is this a good speed? I think that's a good speed. Okay, perfect. So what I'm gonna want to do is make this. So we're gonna want a background color for the Rust logo of white. So it's gonna be really interesting to do that. But I think I can also apply that on OBS over here. So what I'm gonna do is oh, I like did not want to save any of that. Okay. Close. Okay, let's go ahead and everything should be good to send on up. Created a basic web server that serves up the waiting, the starting soon screen. We'll publish this to GitHub. Cannot push. Oh, right, because everything is different. So I need to do a pull first. Okay, I'll do this command line. Get status. Get fetch. Get pull. Get. Wait, do I not have any remotes? I do have a remote. Okay. Oh, I need to set the upstream. Okay. Get branch. Set upstream to origin master. Okay, so now get pull. Uh-oh. Get status. Your branch and origin master have diverged. No. Okay. I use get pull to merge the remote branch into mine. So is this? I don't think I have anything completely crazy or separate, and this won't let me do that. Yeah, because it's failing. This would be nice if VS Code had a little slightly nicer Git capabilities. I can play with that. All right, so let's take a look at what I've done here. So I have a git ignore folder here. I don't need this. Do the get fetch again. I think it's because I have unrelated git histories. But if I do git fetch, So the problem that I'm seeing is that I have a get ignore here. I have all these things, and I have all of these, and I have the get ignore here too. So it's going to cause just a minor merge conflict as I'm coming in. So I need to be able to get merged between two histories. So what is it? Get merge. Well, so if I do a get pull, it won't work. So can I do get merge origin master? Origin / master? Refusing to merge unrelated histories. So not happy. That's a lie. I mean, okay. So the easy, quick way to fix this would be to just delete and recreate the repo, because when I created it, like I auto allowed it to create the get ignore and the license and the readme, and that's not good. I could get force push. That works too. So get push -f. I don't have any problem doing this because it really is just a repo for me, and everything that I care about is down here. So let's just do it. So by doing that, if we come back up to here and hit refresh, all of the other previous things are gone, and now all we have is this. But that should be fine. Now, what I want to do is now compile this for Windows. So we're going to want to do a cargo build -- release -- target x86 64 PC Windows GNU, and I was doing verbose. It required the allow unrelated histories flag. Oh, interesting. I've not used that one before. All right, so let's go ahead and build this for Windows, and let's see if it works. This might take a while because it has to fully go in, and I guess it's downloading some stuff too. It compiles everything, but now it's compiling it with all the optimizations in place, which is not fun because it takes a long time. You feel like it should have suggested that flag? Maybe. That might have been nice. Okay. This is still gonna take forever, isn't it? So the idea is that once this is finished compiling, I'm going to move the executable into the main directory so I can push that up with GitHub too. And then I'm going to go over, so we're going to switch over to the streaming computer, which is a PC right next to me. And then we're going to download this entire repo and execute the server and see if it works. And then we're going to add in the, and if that does work and we're able to use it, then we're going to add in the overlay and see how it looks like in the real world. Tokyo timer, all these things compiling that I'm not actually needing. Cool, you don't have to install Rust to use the binary. Exactly. So I could spend the time installing Rust, and in fact, I tried that yesterday a little bit. But I ran into the problem where I needed to install all the dev tools from Microsoft in order to run, and I don't have those installed on this computer. Yeah, I know they're using Tokyo Timer, but it just takes forever to compile. I'm gonna guess I didn't have to use the production. I didn't have to I could have compiled for development and not worried about any of the what is it? Optimizations. So many things. I feel like this would be a good time for like some other animations that I could play. Take a look at my easing link board. Okay, let's go take a look at that. Easings. Oh, I think I've seen this before. Okay, so right, because the different easings that we can use. Is this big enough? I feel like this would be really nice if they're all running at the same time. So are these all the easings available to us? Haha, multiple versions of Rand and Unicorn have been compiled. That is one of the potential problems about using all the different crates, or in like Node world, it's npm modules or anything else. It's each thing that you pull in might themselves have something else that they require. Do they have linear in here? Linear. Linear is the only one they don't animate. I mean, so some of these are really cool, and we can definitely play with these in the future, maybe if we have any reasons to. Let's see, what else? There was some other links in here. Easings.net. Oh, this is how to do the CSS rotation. We got that working. Somebody gave us a link to a code pen. Right, so here's exactly, and is it the same thing that we've done? So it's okay, so they're using image source. I never find it when I need it. It's one of those sites. Yep, so keyframes rotate from 0 to 360 degrees and rotate 6 seconds, infinite linear. So that's perfect. Let's see how we're doing with this. We're back on Tokyo again. Okay, so more fun. Other projects I've been thinking about making with Rust includes things like a project chooser. So I could put down a list of all the projects that I would like to make, but have it be sort of like a Reddit style voting for like up and down. So that would require auth. You need to be able to log in, so that way I could make it so you can only vote once, and then you can thumbs up or thumbs down which projects you want to see made first. By turning off some of the features of Actix Web, you could potentially reduce the compile time a lot. No idea how many creates each feature brings in. I know this is pretty crazy. Does it actually have how to do that? It doesn't seem to be in here. Well, we're now onto Actix. That's a good thing to have. I always have to look at the cargo.toml to find the features. Oh, so like Actix is cargo.toml. Cargo.doc doesn't specify them yet. Oh, that would be nice if it did. Although this is their own documentation, so they could definitely put it in here. They're just not. All right, so we have our rotating. I guess I could keep it on ours. We're gonna want one for taking a quick break and for ending too, but I'm thinking I might after we get this up and running, then I'm probably gonna go off and do something else today. I want to will it to go faster. Hey, compiling Twitch overlay. So now we're on to Rs. Is it always the last one that it does Rs? All right. We're close, right? We can just like sit and stare at the terminal output to see if it finishes quickly. That probably won't work though. All right. Uh-oh. Could not compile. Linking with GCC failed, exit code 1. But I believe it does LTO at the end too, which could take... Oh, the optimization. Well, so we had the... Oh, this is the exact same thing. Enable long section names. Is that stupid thing from yesterday? It is. And I thought we fixed it. So, unrecognized option, enable long section names. The only thing that I changed from this time to last time, I think you need to bring in, oh, that's right, the cargo, the Dart cargo. I completely forgot about that. Okay, so for those of you who weren't here yesterday, we did our first experimental cross compile from Rust to Windows, and we ran into a little bit of problem. And I forgot that in actually have it in GitHub here. So instead of Twitch overlay, in learning Rust, which is where I went through the entire Rust book, and then chapter 20 had the basic web server, and we have this .cargo folder and .config, and we need to add in this to that. So in Twitch overlay, we need to make dir a .config, right? No, .cargo. And then we can touch .cargo config. Then in here, we can paste in this. So this is just going to say, okay, when we're targeting for Windows, we need to use this specific linker. Otherwise, it's not going to use the correct linker, and then that we causes that problem because it needs to use this long names. So the problem is, are we about to run into, like, does it need to take this entire time again to run? And I saved this file, right? Yes, it did. I'm afraid it might. Compiling Twitch overlay. Okay, so while we're waiting for this, let's go ahead. So config. Let's go into our wiki and make sure that we've got all this stuff updated here. Cross compiling. Okay, yeah, so we don't have everything. So rust up. So we need to do the rust up target add for this. Then we need to also add the folder, add the file config into the folder, into a new folder, .cargo with the contents below. So I'll just add this here, and this will be the config file. There was also an apt-get that we needed to install. So let's see if I can remember that one. Ooh, it finished. Okay, so it didn't need to recompile any of those other things, which is super nice. Let's also 34 seconds, which is not too bad compared to like what we were previously looking at. I just did a sudo. This was it. Add the file config, and then we also need to install the package with the command there. Save page. Actually, that looks really ugly. I need one new line in here. Okay, so now if any of us run into problems in the future, or like I switch to a new computer and I need to remember how to do this, here are the commands to actually set up this cross-compiling, because it was not in the book, and this is kind of like important to get set up. So what have we done? We now have a in Twitch overlay, in target release. Where is it? In target release, I'm not seeing the exe. Oh, here. The x86-64 PC GNU, and here is the Twitch overlay.exe. So what I want to do is we're going to copy target release. No. Well, yeah, it is release. And here, no, it's not. It's the x64 release. Then it's the Twitch overlay.exe to here. So now we can push this on up to GitHub. The exe will be available to us when we download the entire release, or we can even cut a release if we wanted to. And then we should just be able to run it, and it should just work, because it relies upon there being a folder named static right here. Okay, so let's find out where we're at with GitHub. So compiled for Windows, and we'll send this on up. So with that, we're going to switch over to our Windows side. Let me make sure I get the browser up. Go to GitHub. Let's also then go to OBS, switch to the Windows dev side, transition so I can maximize you now. So this is always a fun side to switch over to here. All right, so we want to go to Twitch overlay. Here's this Twitch overlay.exe, so let's go ahead and download the zip. Save that file. I want to open up downloads. Okay, Twitch overlay master, we're going to extract all. Okay, so here's the Twitch overlay. I never remember. I don't know how to open up PowerShell to a certain folder, so we'll just have to go to CD to downloads, cd to the Twitch overlay master. Twitch overlay master. Okay, so now let's open up Twitch overlay.exe. You have to modify the win registry to get an open command prompt here thing. Oh, ew, I don't want to do that. Okay, so now we have the Twitch overlay.exe running here. So I should now be able to go to localhost :3001, and we have our starting soon. Okay, so this is great. This is what we wanted. What we really want to do is minimize all these things. We're gonna bring up OBS, so it's gonna get a little bit weird here. Let's go ahead and minimize you. Okay, so I'm gonna create this overlay, and it's gonna sort of come up in the middle here. It's gonna be a little bit weird because we're not having like a blank screen or anything, but I think that's fine. So in we have Linux Dev, we have Windows Dev. Now, if I create a new scene, I think also this is kind of weird where it did that. Let's pull this down. This is good. So into scenes, I want to create a new scene called starting soon. Perfect. So I'm still sending out what you can see, and you can now see what I'm doing over here. So in starting soon, we want the browser source called starting soon. Starting soon overlay. And local file. Hey NAR003, good morning. Welcome to the stream. So we want to go to http://localhost: 3001. The stream's off. Let me load it up in my. That's not good if it's off. So it's power down sys says you're still on, everything is fine. Okay, NAR003, I'm getting reports it is still good, so you might need to restart your browser or something. Okay, so 3001 width. I want to make this whatever the width of my output is. Video. 1920 by 1080. 1920. Hey. 1920 by 1080. 30 frames per second should be fine. Now we have this custom CSS. So right now it's going to be black. So we do want to say not for. Well, actually, can I say for background color to be white? RGBA, margin 0, overflow hidden. This is black, isn't it? I want you to be white. Oh no, not for body. I don't want body to be that. It's black transparent. Yeah. Okay. This is fine for body. I need to add in a new thing here. So I need that the div. What did we call it? It was rust logo. And we want this one to be background color white, like that. And we also want that H1 to be white too. So we want a comma. Okay, so that should give us everything. Shutdown source not visible. Refresh browser when scene becomes active. Maybe. Refresh. Okay, so hit OK. So not exactly what I wanted. I mean, it's cool, but again, not exactly what I was going for here. Ship it. Okay, so our custom CSS is a little bit weird. Go to properties again. Seems fine to me. Yeah, Let's try just this. Nope, so it's definitely mine. Oh, so the background color is not. How do I want to do this? If I go back to filters and property. So we were setting the background color for these things. Let's come back and play around with this on the other side. Okay, so we're gonna come back to Linux Dev. There. Back over to here. I was peeking really hard because in order to get close to here, I was a little bit too close to the microphone. Remove all of the OBS CSS. Okay, we can try that. I'll try to speak a little bit quieter when I'm really, really close to the microphone. So, transition again. Starting soon. I guess I could also pull this way down. Okay, how about this? All right, now I should be able to speak more of a normal voice. No, that's too quiet. Too quiet. Perfect. Okay. So that should not blow out your ears when I'm talking or peak the microphone. So let's remove all of the CSS. Properties. Move all of the CSS and hit OK. And we get black. So I mean, not exactly what I wanted. It's great. This is perfect. Everybody can tell that when I start a stream, this a blank screen is saying that we're starting soon. Like all you have to do is just memorize that and then tell everybody in the world who watches Twitch that that's what this means in this case. Body background color white. Too quiet now? Okay, I will up it a little bit. Okay, how about this? Let's try body background color white. Not body. Didn't you just say body? Oh, not body colon. I screwed, yeah. Body, like that. So that does exactly the opposite of what I wanted to. Okay, so what is this? Okay, so taking a look at switch back to Linux desk. And of course, can't forget to put up volume again. No background. Well, so I tried no background, it's just completely black. So what OBS is doing is they have like a standard black background to begin with. And then everything that they're loading in, it comes on top of that. And it's just whatever color it is. So I need to set I need to properly set these to be their own colors. I can simulate this by opening up the dev tools and saying that in the body, we're going to have a background color of black. So don't you need it transparent somehow? It maybe. Now, if we come in and we take a look, not at target, at our main.css, do you know what browser OBS is using to render a page? I don't know what browser they're using. Okay, so we have background color black to set it to black. We have the keyframes that are rotating. So if I set this to white, did I crash? Oh no, I didn't crash the server. I don't have it running. Cargo run. For my quick web search is using some kind of WebKit, most likely Electron. Did I do that on the wrong thing? And in body, I want background color black. I'll have to remember to take that off, otherwise it gets weird. Okay, so you know what? If I have absolutely nothing else running and I don't care about this at all, then setting the body to be background color black and just control it completely isn't the worst thing in the world. It's a workaround for this. So I can do this. We'll have the background color black for the body. We'll have the background color white for the rest logo. And we'll have the background color white for H1. So I guess I don't have white. Oh wait, background color. It's text. I just need color. How silly. Okay, so we now have all of these things up and running. Let's cut a quick release again. Weird, my OBS doesn't have a web page option. Are you on Danny, you're on Windows, right? Okay, so let's do another cargo build. You're on Debian. Okay, so fun fact, OBS on Linux doesn't support web, which is why I have to use a Windows machine to do it. Okay, oh, look at this, finished released in 0.47 seconds. That is so much nicer. So it's the first release that really sucks. Okay, so I need to do the exact same copy again. So copy target to Twitch overlay. Now we've overwritten this. Of course, we don't want to actually put that out. Uh-oh, that was mine. Don't think it was your guys' Slack. Let's. Can I close Slack permanently? There. I forgot that I left Slack on the Windows machine. Okay, so once we have that, everything should be good. So changed everything to be opposite colors for OBS. Why didn't it see this? I feel like I didn't copy over the executable because it didn't. This didn't get changed for Git. Let me try deleting that. So we're gonna remove the Twitch overlay.exe, and so we did the cargo build, released optimized target. Oh, you know why? Because it's the same. It didn't get changed at all. It was just the CSS that we made changes to. So we didn't need to do. I didn't need to do the remove. We'll just do the copy again. Come back to here. Everything is good. We'll push up the CSS changes. Now we'll come back over here. I'm going to turn my volume down before I get close. Okay, I think that is good. I'm only into the yellow, and we'll switch back to Windows. Okay, so let's go grab the change. I also want to delete, so I need a CD out of this. And here, let's just go ahead and delete all of these. And we'll re-download the zip here. It uses Chrome version 41. Nice. Yeah. I keep on Firefox, I keep on waiting for like some better indication that it's downloaded something, and it's just this thing right there, which I'm not used to seeing. So let's go ahead and extract all. And we'll CD into here now. So CD into Twitch overlay master. Here it is. Our Twitch overlay exe. So we run that. We're now going to come back to OBS. Go into starting soon overlay. We want to remove all of your own custom CSS. So that's not working the way I want to. I wonder if there's like a dash WebKit thing that I have to do. So let's see. There was no SVG stuff in here for that. So you're saying we figured out that it's like a dash WebKit thing. I wonder if on this computer I can find where it's going. CSS, SVG, WebKit, background color. Okay, so SVG, CSS mass. So there is a WebKit mask image URL. I'm guessing mask image doesn't support SVG in its version. Oh, that might be what it is. Well, there is a WebKit-mask URL. Icon.svg. Can I use? CSS mass. I mean, so it's in Chrome. Chrome is WebKit. can you just have the browser open and then have that full screen in a new scene instead of using OBS to display it? I mean, I would prefer to have OBS display it, and it's so close. It's just right here, but it's not working the way I want it to. I wonder if I can instead come here, not effect filters, properties. Can I say that for dot? Yeah, try adding the dash WebKit prefix. So I want to try dash dot. What did I call it? Dot rust dash logo. So rust dash logo. And in here, we're gonna put in dash WebKit dash. Oh, this computer. So it's just dash WebKit dash mask. And then URL. And then I need to see what the URL was. Okay, so it's /static/rust logo blk k.svg. Hey, look at that. Okay, so back to Linux dev. So we now know what the problem is. The problem is that they're using a version of the browser that requires view ship it. That's your response to everything, Danny. All right, so our Rust logo, we have this mask image. We also have to, unfortunately, put in dash WebKit dash mask image. Was it? What did I need? WebKit dash mask. But you know what? I probably need to. Okay, so WebKit mask image. Probably just want to do mask image for this. URL. Static, Rust logo. Okay, so we'll do that one. Copy. Well, yeah, I guess we just copy the line above it. So width and height will be the same. Mask repeat will have to be the same. So copy this. And this will be a dash WebKit dash. Okay, mask size needs to have it done to it too. Dash WebKit dash. Background color should be fine. Animation name should be fine. All the animations should be fine because those were working just great. So I'm hoping that this will be all we need to do. So let's go ahead and send this on up. So added the dash WebKit prefix for OBS and send on up. Oh, I forgot to change the mic amount. So was that too soft while I was back before, like back working on this this computer? Switching to Windows Dev. Closing these two. Okay. Oh, you know what? It's because I'm actually running this thing still. Okay, so all of our downloads are set up properly. Let's go back down, hit refresh. Download this again. Extract. We don't need to show the extracted files. Okay. Now we'll come into here. CD, Twitch overlay, Twitch overlay, Twitch overlay. Okay. Back to here. Starting soon. Properties. Let's reset that and hit OK. Look, we've got it. We now have a Rust logo with a starting soon screen. So what this will look like when I do it, I'm gonna hit the transition over, and this will be like the full screen on it. So hit the transition. So that's our don't ship it. Don't ship it. Danny. No, it should be. It is exactly what I want. I am definitely shipping this one. Okay, so I wanted to switch over into Twitch and my dashboard so I can see it. And oh man, I like the look of it. It looks really good on my phone too, as I'm just sort of sitting here. So this will transition back. We'll head back over to the Linux dev. All right, so I've been doing this for let's see, 10 o'clock. I started at 7, 3 hours now. I'm getting a little bit tired, and I'm starting to have a little bit of trouble concentrating. I think like following up things that I want to do, I want to create a quick like break one. So I can just like want to do breaks and I'll just leave you with this. I also want to create one for the ending of the stream, and then potentially a custom overlay for just like the normal stream as it's coming, like going through the day. So maybe one that shows things at the top where it's like, oh, we'll find the code here and have the URLs that can be written down. I think those will be tomorrow things for me to work on. I'm thinking right now that I am done for the day. So everybody, thank you for stopping by and watching as I'm going through and doing all these things. I want to go back to my dashboard on Twitch. It's been a super lot of fun creating all these things with Rust, and I'm gonna be keeping on doing this. I've been generally streaming at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and I'm gonna continue doing that for this week and next week until I start my new job. Up until my mind is already starting to turn into fuzz. I'm forgetting all the things I normally say. I have all the code that you saw here has been pushed up to GitHub. I have the links to GitHub down below in the stream description. And I've been archiving these videos over to YouTube, which the link is also in the stream description. Anything else? I usually tweet out when I'm about to stream or right at the beginning of it. And now that I have it starting soon, I might actually start the stream a few minutes before it normally starts and give people time to actually join. And after that, I don't really have anything. I may be starting, I mentioned sort of yesterday, I may be starting to stream a little bit of super bad StarCraft 2 gameplay. And that's mainly because I have some ex-coworkers that want to play with me, and they suggested that I stream that, so I'm probably going to do that. That might be coming up during like the lunchtime, 12 o'clock Mountain Time. Anyways, I don't have anything else, so I'm gonna go and have breakfast and sort of figure out what I want to do for the rest of the day, and maybe think about how I want to design the closing screens. And my next official stream will be tomorrow morning, but stay on Twitter in case I do an unofficial stream. All right, with that, I'm out of here. Have a great rest of your day, and again, thanks for stopping by.